You're up awfully early. If you find yourself having to burn the midnight oil, give DeLuna Coffee's Midnight Shift a shot. This blend is pure Pensacola. DeLuna Coffee, in conjunction with the Pensacola Police Department, created this medium dark roast to make sure the city is caffeinated. A portion of every bag of Midnight Shift sold is donated to the Raleigh Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research. Try it or one of their over 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Use that promo code WARCHANT15 when you go to DeLunaCoffee.com. That will save you 15% off of your order at the website. How about you pour yourself a cup of Pensacola Sunset coffee? Corey, you know why they call it the Pensacola Sunset blend? It's because this coffee will have you feeling the warmth of the Florida sun in every flavorful cup. Enjoy the superb blend of Costa Rican, Papua New Guinea, and Brazilian beans from DeLuna Coffee. It's the Pensacola Sunset. Again, that promo code WARCHANT15 saves you 15% on your orders on the website. WARCHANT.com, Ultimate Simple Sports Source. Thumbs up, ratings, reviews, please, and thank you. Now, Corey Clark, everybody. Corey, how are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. How are you doing? You doing all right? You have a good weekend down at Gasparilla?
Yeah, I mean, that was fun. Not a good sporting weekend for the Hajavandi clan. Niners going down, meltdown. Lakers get outscored by 18 against the Hawks, just choke it one way. So a bit of a tough one for my brother and myself. It was I haven't felt anxiety watching a football game in quite some time. But like that last two drives, the Rams were going in for the winning score, and when the Niners had the ball and Jimmy G just vomited all over himself. I'm like, oh gosh, what's happening? So, but there's real life stuff to worry about sometimes other than sports, man. Everything good with you though, right? Sunday Smash was supposed to go off, but you went into emergency boyfriend mode. But all's well though.
I did. We had a little bit of a little fright with Stephanie, but everything's all right. Got checked out. Everything's good. So we're in good shape on that front. And yeah, buddy, I'm sorry about your. I guess I don't realize that you're a big 49ers fan. We don't talk about it a lot. But welcome to Kyle Shanahan, buddy.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
love Kyle.
Like, hey,
I love
I had a
Kyle.
bigger lead than that. I lost. You only lost a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I lost a 25-point lead.
I'm a big Kyle Shanahan guy. I do like him. It was crazy in the middle of the season. They were talking about firing him. Like, do they let him go at the end of the season? It's like, chill out. I mean, who are they going to hire? What are you going to get? A retread? We're going to get Jim. I mean, I love Jim Harbaugh, but he won't come back. I mean, we're going to get Todd Bowles, like Byron Leftwich. I don't know. I don't want anybody else.
Is George Seifert still alive?
George Seifert's the winningest 49ers coach, not Bill Walsh.
I would think, like percentage-wise, right? Probably has to be.
I think just in terms of raw wins.
Oh, overall wins?
Yeah.
He had a nice run, man. He had a nice run.
Yeah. Anyhow, people don't pay attention to us to talk about the NFL. We won't. But
you got Ramsey, you got Jalen and Cam Akers, and it'd be nice if Jalen Ramsey could catch, huh? He'd had a big night if he could catch the ball.
Or Jaworski
he was doing his best Akeem Dent impressions.
Yeah, Jaworski Tart.
Yeah, that's a big drop, man. But what's crazy is like they gave Tart such grief, and it's impossible to drop that. Like literally anybody listening to this show would have caught that. But Ramsey dropped just what could have been even more pivotal. Like if Ramsey catches that one, it's probably a pick six in a tie game. And instead, he dropped it, but it's just his teammates went ahead and got a stop.
Well, that was kind of a high velocity throw between his ear and his shoulder, Jalen. I mean, that was a fair catch. That was an arm
Are you an athlete or not? Yeah, that was bizarre, man. That's the worst. That was a crazy Matt Stafford throw, and the guy just batted. I mean, I can't believe he dropped that pass. Because if he catches it, he's going to return it to at minimum the Rams 40. Like there's nobody there. Like he's going to get to the 40 or 35. You're already in field goal range, and instead they go down and score. Cooper Kupp's good, too, by the way.
Jeez, figure it out. Good luck with that one, Bengals. Anywho, you care about your Noles, 7 p.m. live show on Warchant TV with Gene, Ira, and Tom. they're going to be discussing the schedule, which will be released on ACC Network at 7 o'clock. So they'll get the first reaction, let you guys know what they think about it, maybe some predictions. Maybe they'll go through win-loss and let us know what they think about it. And I don't know if we'll peel that off and it'll be a podcast on the headlines feed possibly, or maybe we'll put it on this one. Who knows? But just catch it live. It's always better live. 7 o'clock on our Warchant TV channel. That's our YouTube page, everybody. Totally free to watch it. Gene, Ira, and Tom breaking down the schedule. We are getting ever so closer to the season, kind of, sort of.
I'm interested. The ACC Network doesn't normally. I feel like they just do it normally on like Packer and Durham, right? Or they just release them like at 9 o'clock. They don't make like a big show of it, or they haven't before. So this will be interesting. I wonder if they'll have like they'll treat it like a real thing and have instant analysis and people in the studio, everybody on deck to all hands on deck to comment on the scheduling. It seems like they're trying to roll it out like it actually matters.
Yeah.
I mean, to them, which is, that's good to see.
Yeah. I should holler at our guy Dallin Cuff, see what he knows about it. But yeah, that'll be cool if they maybe get a couple coaches. Maybe they zoom in Norvell and be like, "So you see the schedule, Coach? What you think?" I think we're climbing to 10 wins now, guys. Yeah. Gotta run the table.
Yeah, the 12-0 probably. I can't. I don't see a loss on that schedule.
Yeah. So again, that's 7 o'clock live on our YouTube channel, also on ACC Network if you want to watch those folks. But you want to watch Gene, Ira, and Tom. We'll have Michael Langston at the end of the program talking about recruiting. We are getting old. You're getting even older than I am, Corey. Matt Fryer's kid committed to Florida State. I think on Saturday, Camden Fryer, one of the faster guys out at one of the camps over in Texas, I think earlier this season. 6'1", 170. I don't know. That kind of fits close to the mold of his old man, but an interesting sort of prospect. Maybe Cooper Kupp-esque, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen his game, but I do know that Michael's been gushing about him. He'll talk about it more in depth at the end of the podcast. But a guy that doesn't have any stars maybe by his name. But again, these are. I am going to ask Michael.
It's new too, right?
Yes.
He's 2024, right?
Right. Yeah. So again, this is going to be interesting to see how many guys that they're getting in front of that maybe they'll be early to the party and then everybody else will be playing catch up, or if they're just simply kind of trying to develop a different kind of prospect. But yeah, Matt Fryer's kid coming to Florida State, Corey. Who would have thought? Here we are.
For the young folks out there that don't know Matt Fryer, shame on you. He was a receiver on the 93 National Championship team. He was the cover of Sports Illustrated with the cheerleader. I think she's kissing him on the cheek or something, if I remember correctly.
Correct,
that 93 Sports Illustrated when they beat Nebraska. Gritty player, coach on the field. All the platitudes we save for the white receivers. Coach on the field, gritty, possession guy. That's the misnomer though about Matt Fryer and about his son is that Matt Fryer when he was at Florida State was not by any chance the slowest. The slowest wide receiver in that group. Like he was probably middle of the pack, and if he had a really famous catch when they finally broke the streak against Miami in '93.
Oh yeah,
a really famous catch where he outran Rohan Marley on basically on a Charlie Ward scramble for like a 70-yard touchdown, and then hugs the cop in the end zone. Like he can move, and his kid apparently is one of the faster receivers of that class right now. So yeah, man, that's cool, man. It does make you feel old though, real old when Matt Fryer's kid. I think I'm gonna feel really old when I'm like if I'm covering like Rashad Green's kid. That's going to take it to another level, right? Like I was still pretty young when Matt Fryer. I mean, young. I was 18 when Matt Fryer won a national title. So that doesn't make me feel as old as when, one of these guys that I've covered will actually have a kid in school.
Sanford Samuels the third. That one was just like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But anywho, yeah. So we'll get Michael's breakdown of that later on in the program. By the way, cheerleader simply with her arms slung around the elder Fryer's neck. No kissing. No kissing going on there. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
All right, basketball-wise, how quickly fortunes can change in the ACC, Corey Clark. Florida State at some point, I don't know if they entered last week, but at some point sitting atop the ACC, sitting all pretty. I think they're now 6th in the conference after dropping 2 games last week. 85-72 Saturday at the hands of Virginia Tech, which should have been known as the Naheem McLeod game, but unfortunately that will be sort of swept under the rug, as Virginia Tech absolutely shooting lights out, 72% from behind the arc. They went 18 of 25 from 3. That Couture kid, 9 of 11, and then Padula, 6 of 7. So those guys just absolutely teaming up, Hunter Couture and Sean Padula, teaming up to just crush Florida State. But shorthanded, so what do you take away from Florida State not being anywhere near full power, but dropping a contest against one of the more struggling teams in the conference?
Yeah, it was a disappointing effort, but not really. If you'd have told me before the game that like Raekwon Evans, Caleb Mills, we knew Malik Osborne already. Yeah, that broke on Friday, by the way, folks. If you didn't know, you need to be on our website if you're not. But Malik Osborne is out for the year. His ankle injury just got, I guess they elected to have surgery. So he's out for the year. I think he's eligible, available. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I know that he's eligible to come back next year, even though he's a senior this year, because last year didn't count towards anybody's eligibility. It's why Raekwon Evans is still on the team. So he could still say this is his junior year again, redshirt junior year, and next year he'd be a senior. So he is eligible to come back. It doesn't mean he will. It'd be a shame if his career ended this way, like just hurt. But he'll also be 23 or 24 years old and might want to go on with his life and go, start playing professional basketball in some capacity. So anyway, with Malik Osborne, without Raekwon Evans and without Caleb Mills, yeah, it's going to be tough to beat anybody in the ACC. It just is. And they didn't. And I thought they played hard, but when you give up 18 of 25 from three-point range, that's just about impossible. Number one, it's just about impossible to do that. I think that was a record with that amount of attempts. That was a record for percentage in ACC history, at least since they moved the line back. And then, if they had played perfectly without those guys, maybe, but they didn't. They couldn't get stops. They played hard, but you can tell when you're missing three key guys, and Malik is really the most important person on the defense. Without him, it's going to be a struggle all year if Leonard doesn't change the way he coaches defense this year. If he just continues to switch so to break it down, I know I'm not a hoops expert by any means either, but I know a lot of people aren't. So what Florida State does that's not typical of most college basketball teams is they switch 1 through 5, meaning if the center comes out and sets a screen for the point guard, usually most teams will either hedge that, like try to double team the pick and roll, the screen, or have the guard kind of try to fight around the screen because they don't want their center to have to switch and play the point guard one-on-one because that's a mismatch quickness-wise, clearly. Florida State switches everything. So they ask their 7'4" center, Naheem McLeod, who has been awesome on offense. Like he's turned into like Shaq. I mean, he is dunking everything with authority, like trying to bring the rim down. It's really cool. He had one in the first half, I think. He caught it and spun and dunked it left-handed. It was just, he looked great. He just is playing violently. He looks really good on offense. But on defense, he's exposed. He's 7'4". And they're asking him, like they ask all their big guys, to guard a 6'3" kid. Well, he's got to back up. Like if Couture has the ball, or Padula, he's got to back off because he can't get up on him like he's guarding him like Michael Jordan or Gary Payton because they'll blow right by him. He's 7'4". They might go under his legs. So he backs off, and he has to. And when he backs off enough, they take advantage and shoot over the top. If he does try to guard him, they get around him, get in the paint, and kick out to another open shooter for a 3. It happened in the first half against Georgia Tech. That's why Malik Osborne played so much in the second half because they were tired of giving up threes because, Malik got hurt, really injured himself again, re-injured it in the first half against Georgia Tech, but he gutted it out in the second half, and the defense was a lot better in the second half. I think Georgia Tech hit 2 threes in that half. But with Malik Osborne not in there, they don't have anybody else that's sort of big that can guard that can play center for them. So they stayed with Ngam and McLeod, and it was a nightmare defensively. And Leonard said he was going to change it. He said, I'm not sure we can switch 1 through 5 anymore with Naheem McLeod on the floor. So I assume he's going to switch. He needs to. He said it before, but I really think he'll switch this time and change the way they play defense. To what? I don't know. But, Naheem McLeod needs to be on the floor. And he can't play on defense the way they make it, the way they're asking him to play. He can't do it, and it's nothing against him. Shaquille couldn't do it either. But they have to have him on the floor on offense.
We mentioned earlier in the season, kind of hoping that Cameron Fletcher would emerge, kind of maybe being an X factor, but ultimately you want him to kind of emerge and be one of the 5 guys, or at least one of your top 7 or 8 guys that you can kind of count on. With Malik's absence, is it that much more sort of imperative that Cameron Fletcher figures out some sort of niche with this team right now, or is it going to be somebody else that might not be on the radar that we're talking about?
No, I mean, it's got to be these guys. It's got to be Fletcher, Cleveland. Worley started and played a lot, most extensive minutes.
And the good thing about Mills, it's tonsillitis or whatever. We'd heard about a tongue or a throat infection. Apparently, it's been tonsillitis going around. So it's not like they're going to be without Raekwon Evans and Caleb for the first. It's just so they'll be back.
And Raekwon was, I guess we just describe it as like a mental health break. Because they said he was still having a real, of course he's allowed. He was still grieving for his brother who passed away about a month ago. I mean, obviously he's going to grieve for the rest of his life, but he had, I guess, had a rough stretch, and they decided before game time that he wouldn't play. That's the only reason they put Caleb Mills in the game at all, was because they didn't have Raekwon. And when Caleb Mills was in the game, he was awful. I think he was a -8 in 2 minutes. So they played that whole game without their 2 starting guards, along with their starting forward/center. So really, 3 of their 7 best, 2 of their top 3 players, and 3 of their 7 best players. So it was tough. Like it's tough, but I think when you bring up Fletcher, just as we look along ahead for this season, it's going to be really tough, man. I think losing Malik Osborne changes really the whole prism that you view this season in now. Like what can you expect from a team like they? I make fun of Leonard sometimes because he talks about how inexperienced they are. Well, they are, man. They're really inexperienced now. Like Osborne and Polite were the 2 main veterans, in Evans to an extent, but those 2 guys are the guys they can count on. And Osborne is a guy that leads them in rebounding, was their best 3-point shooter until he got hurt. A really good athlete, their team leader. The spiritual leader, he's gone, man. That's a tough one. Yeah. Like Evans and Mills don't strike me as really talkative, leader, vocal guys. So they're going to miss that. They're going to miss that a lot too out of Osborne. It's not as much as what he does on the court, but it's a big factor. So you look at I've completely recalibrated what I think this season can be now. Like I would be very surprised now if they go on any sort of run where they can get into the tournament. I don't know how.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, look, they just lost to the 2 worst teams in the league, by double digits. And so they shot well.
They're without 2 important people, though. I mean, they have time to figure this out, or they don't have time to figure it out.
They do. I'm not saying I would be stunned. At least I hope I didn't. But I would be surprised because you lose a guy like Osborne, and you see how valuable Mills is. But defensively, they're just bad without Osborne. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but when they try to go big and keep one of those 7-footers on the floor, one of them again who's 7'4" and just doesn't move like a 6'4" guy, because why would he? And then the other guy, Ngam, is coming back from injury. They're not quick or mobile enough like Balsa. Balsa could bend down and move a little bit. And other guys in the past have been able to do that. They could switch and even play Scotty Barnes up top sometimes, a lot actually. They don't have that. So all of a sudden you lose one of your best athletes, your best rebounder, and the guy that's the most important guy on your defense, because when you play small, he can match up with the center. And when they switch, the guard doesn't just go right by him. He's very good on defense. Well, they don't have him anymore. So there's nobody really to pick up that void if they want to keep playing the way they play on defense. And they might switch it up, I guess, go to zone. I don't know. Start hedging all these screen and rolls. But you're going to be counting on a lot of young guys that haven't done it before. And you got to hope that Mills comes back. I'm not saying they can't do it. But the strength of this team should always be defense. And I think I think Caleb Mills is a strong on-ball defender. I know Polite is. I think Fletcher could be a great defender. Cleveland has something of that in him. Worley too. But it does not matter if every time. It doesn't matter how good a on-ball defender Anthony Polite is when they switch everything, and it's all that matters. And this is what Leonard said after the game. All that matters is the guy that can't guard the center, the guy that can't guard the point guard. Like he's like, we have 4 guys that are playing exceptional defense and 1 guy where they just go to get relief. Basically saying all we got to do is run a screen, and then we have a mismatch. And Couture can dance with this guy, and he can't stay in front of him. That's what they got to figure out. But they got to figure it out quickly because again, those are 2. Especially the Georgia Tech one is a bad loss on the resume. Well, this one is too, and they certainly aren't in the tournament right now. They got plenty of work to do.
They're back in action on Wednesday at Littlejohn in Clemson. The Tigers' 4th worst team in the ACC. So, I mean, the schedule
doesn't matter.
Schedule's being friendly. Let's see if we can take advantage of it. That game is. Let me see what time it is. 7:00. All right, reasonable.
Oh, there you go. What's that about? Florida State's not going. The Noles aren't going to know what to do with themselves.
And then they play a nooner on Saturday against Wake.
A sleepy nooner. Yep, that's right. By the way, Ira texted me. I wasn't at the game on Saturday, but apparently they've gone with a new person to do the in-game
entertainment,
in-game contests.
Way to go, Corey. Way to go.
I'm not saying I made that happen.
Way to go.
Because if I made that happen, I got some other things. I got things on my list I want to get accomplished. But yeah, back to Fletcher though, real quick, and then we'll move on. I texted that to Ira in the middle of the game. I was like, I just want to see what that kid can do. They've been playing him for like 6 minutes at a time. 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm like, I'm not saying you punt on this season. Clearly you don't. And you don't punt on the other guys on the team. But, man, I want to see what that kid does with 25 minutes because he's got some things to him that aren't normal. You know, he had a couple dunks in this game, really quick. He gets some steals. He makes some bad decisions too, and you can't trust a lot of these young guys on defense yet. But I just think he needs some experience. And you're also kind of playing towards next year too. Again, you're not punting on this year, but you want to know what you have in Fletcher next year. Fletcher might be an NBA player, and he just needs to find himself. And in 6 minutes here and 5 minutes there, it isn't doing the trick. And I just feel like maybe you got to get him on the floor and see what he is. You know, use these last 6 weeks of the season to kind of see what he is moving forward. I mean, you know, Cleveland's been playing really poorly here the last few games. Hopefully he'll come out of that. But you got to know what you have in Worley, and in my opinion, you got to know what you have in Fletcher. Butler's getting a lot of experience, and then McLeod, I mean, has turned into Shaq. Just got to get you, but it's hard to keep him on the floor because he's scoring 15 points for you on 7 of 7 shooting. But how many? I'm not saying he's giving them up. He's trying his hardest. I'm not saying he's a bad defender. He's put in a really tough spot. But how many points are they scoring on the other end with him on the floor? He dominated the first half against Georgia Tech, but they couldn't play him in the second half because they couldn't get stops with him on the court. But they need him. So hopefully, and that's what these guys get paid to do, is to figure out this stuff and to coach to your strengths. Naheem McLeod on the offensive end just dunking on fools is a strength. And you've got to figure out a way to be able to offset that on the other end so you're not getting killed every time he's on the court.
The clutch shot, the biggest hits. It's time for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good
Player of the Week.
You heard the man, Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. I'm going back to the well. I'm going back to the Oval. He's won it once this sports calendar year. Not the actual calendar year, but, you know, sports athletic calendar or whatever. Adrian Wildshut, Corey, my dude over in Lubbock, rips off a school record 7-minute, 52.8 second, 3,000. Everybody, I'll do the math for you. 3,000 meters is 1.8 miles. He ran practically 2 miles in under 8 minutes. That's describing how indescribably good he was. So kind of goes against the ethos of this segment. But 7:52.80, that breaks a school record that Luke Gunn used to have. It's been held since 2008. So Adrian Wildshut, my Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. Corey, you.
I'm going Morgan Jones. We haven't given the FSU women's basketball team much love. Honestly, they haven't deserved it, but they have been playing better here lately. They lost. They were in a close game against Louisville in the fourth quarter, and she had about 30 in that one. She was really good in that one. Then on Sunday, Virginia's not very good, but Florida State did what they had to do. They took care of business. Morgan Jones had 16 points, which is about right at her average. To give her some love because she's been a very good player this year for a team that hasn't had a lot of overall success, but maybe they're going to find their stride, Aslan. They might be finding their stride here right at the right time.
All right. I was going to go honorable mention Trey Cunningham. Apparently, he ran a 60-meter hurdle in 7.49 seconds. That broke his own Florida State and ACC record. But it was like in the prelims. So I don't know what happened in the final, but still, that's pretty incredible. But not as incredible as Adrian Wildschut and Morgan Jones, are Zaxby's indescribably good players. Oh, wait. We're back, but we got the dude who covers all the recruiting for you Florida State fans. Michael Langston joining us here on the program, our recruiting analyst for Warchant.com and Rivals.com. Michael, thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it. I know you're always busy on the weekends, making some time for us. We certainly do appreciate it. Won't waste any time. Let's get right to it, man. First off, I know it's a little bit down the road, but you're plugged into freshmen and sophomores. You don't care just about 2022 guys and 23. You always got an eye to the future. Camden Fryer, the son of Matt Fryer, national champion winning wide receiver for the Noles, committed to FSU on Saturday. 6'1", 170 out of Sewanee High there in Live Oak. So I guess that means Kyler Hall was his coach.
Yeah.
What kind of talent is Florida State getting in this kid, do you think?
A very explosive slot guy that is very fast. For those that don't remember Matt playing, Matt had some good speed. Tough, very tough like Matt, but he's also faster than probably Matt was coming into college. This kid can fly. I'm talking about the 4.4 range. Ran the fastest time at the National Combine over there at the U.S. Army National Combine. Certainly gets great separation. He's got great hands just like his dad, but the main thing is how he gets in and out of his routes. That really jumped out at FSU, and that was a guy that they made a priority. He was their first offer. FSU was the first offer, and I think that spoke to kind of their level of interest as far as how much you want, because we've talked about this with legacies. Like, you have to be really careful, and the fact that they were the first team to offer says a lot about how much FSU liked this kid.
Really intriguing prospect. The one thing I wanted to ask you, and I was talking about it with Corey, and I mean, you mentioned he's the first offer he got was from Florida State. I remember looking at some of the stories you and Austin Cox had up on the website maybe a few weeks back. I think it might have been some IMG kids that were on campus, but I noticed, and again, I mean, these are class of 23 and 24 prospects, so they haven't been able to go to all these combines and camps. I think Fryer has been able to, but some of them don't have any sort of rating and ranking. Is that a product just of kind of where we are in the timeline? Is this Norvell and his staff just really keen on, are they going to be the front runners for these guys? Are they chasing the right guys and getting ahead of everybody else, and everybody else going to be playing catch up? Or do you see them maybe recruiting a different kind of athlete outside, I guess, maybe the mainstream?
Well, I think they just do a better job early on of evaluating these kids, and they've shown that. I mean, you remember all the way back to Luke Altemeyer, quarterback. Yeah. FSU offered him before anybody. Then other schools jumped aboard. Alabama tried to get involved. Then Ole Miss got involved. So their evaluation is very good early. It doesn't mean they hit on every single guy, but their evaluations at eye of talent is very good. They're always the team that's one of the first offers, and I think they have a certain skill set that they look for. Hey, if they're ranked high, great. If they turned out to be ranked high by the time they're a senior, I think sure they'd love that, but I think it's more about, does this skill fit what we want to do at their position or on offense or defense? And I think that's kind of the main thing that FSU looks for.
It was a busy weekend over at the Moore Center on the campus of Florida State. Michael, let's stay with 2024. So those kids are sophomores, actually, in high school right now. But quarterback, we saw it on display Sunday of just how important it is. The Cincinnati Bengals won 2 football games 2 years ago, 4 last year when they lost their first overall pick early on in the season. Joe Burrow led them to the AFC Championship. They are now in the Super Bowl. Quarterback can change everything. Jaden Davis is a 2024 prospect. What kind of dynamic talent is this player out of Providence State High School in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yeah, I think this is a kid that can kind of do both. A great passer. Certainly he's got wheels to run. When the play breaks down, he knows how to get yards and make big plays. But I think his biggest talent is just his arm. I mean, he really spreads the ball around, reads the defenses really well, can process information very fast. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He's certainly a guy that's going to be the top of their board, I think, in 2024. And they've made him a priority from the start. I think FSU was also one of his first offers. And I think this is a kid that just fits everything, kind of the Norvell quarterbacks that we've seen, which are like, the guys like, A.J. Duffy, guys like that he kind of does similar things to him. Obviously, he's more athletic than AJ is as far as running the ball too, but I think his ability to read coverages, get the ball out of his hands fast, read everything quickly, process it quickly, and he just has that mindset that kind of Mike Norvell loves. And I think FSU has a really good shot there. I think they did a lot of. I think they're in a positive position after this visit, so it's a good start. It's a good starting point for one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, this is one of these guys that is all over everybody's radar. He's got a green check mark for school offers on the Rivals page from practically every top Power 5 program. 6-foot quarterback, 186. I don't know what's up with his staff. They're kind of allergic to any. We just want a bunch of Drew Brees and Russell Wilsons.
You got to remember too. He's only 24,
right?
So
right.
I mean, he's going to grow a lot. Probably get up to like 6'2", 6'3". So yeah, I hear you.
We'll take it. All right, let's move a little bit closer to the present day. Let's go to a junior, TJ Searcy, defensive end prospect. That's obviously a position that Florida State needs to be able to maybe start creating some kind of momentum, inertia to at least have some grassroots, homegrown guys that they can recruit from the high school level and get them prepared. They're doing a really good job, obviously, of addressing in the portal for the short and immediate term, but they do have to kind of build that pipeline of talent up on the defensive end side of things. Seriously, a 3-star defensive end out of Thomaston, Georgia. Michael, what do we know about him, and how did his visit go?
Yeah, his visit was very good. I think FSU is actually the favorite with him. I think Georgia is also involved. South Carolina's involved. But I just think FSU from the start has really done the best job of developing relationship and connection personally with him. I think his biggest strength is the way he gets after the pass rusher. I mean, just as a pass rusher, uses his hands really well, knows how to get off blocks really quick. I think that's kind of the attraction that FSU's had with him, that's his ability to really get to the quarterback. I mean, that's kind of his main thing. And I think from the start, FSU has been the team that's the most consistent, the most persistent. They've been on this kid. I know he's listed a 3-star. I don't think he's going to be a 3-star there long. He's very legit, guys. I saw him for myself in person. You know, his height and weight is very accurate. So I think he's a guy that is going to be one of their top, targets throughout the year. But I don't think he'll be at 3-star too long, in my opinion. I think this guy is going to blow up with spring offers and summer offers, and I think he's a guy that when Georgia's offering you, I think that tells you plenty. So I think he's a guy that's going to be very coveted.
Yeah, 6'5", 250, so he's already got the frame on him. So definitely somebody that we want to keep an eye on as we follow recruiting. Michael, but National Signing Day Part 2, not too far. I mean, it's this Wednesday, but pretty much the hay's in the barn for Florida State when it comes to recruiting high school players. I know if we do a live chat this week, it would have to be like probably tomorrow. But everybody would ask, are there any sleepers? Are there any sleepers that we need to know about? Which is like, well, if we know about it, then they're really not a sleeper. But do you know do you have a sense of the kind of the temperature of what the staff is looking to get done on Wednesday? Is it Antavius Woody or bust, or is there anybody else out there that we need to be familiar with, possibly on Wednesday signing with Florida State?
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually
maybe Destin Hill. Could it be Destin Hill? Could he be coming?
I think it's going to be a very quiet day for FSU because I think they're waiting on Antavius Woody to see if his academics work out. And I was told over the weekend that they're probably not going to know that till May. So I'm not sure that he's going to be signing on Wednesday. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be delayed for a while with Woody. So I don't think they're in there. And I don't know of any high school kids that they're pushing for. So it might be, this is it. And then whatever they get in the portal, that's going to be the class. And then certainly with Destin Hill, we're going to wait to see if he's coming summer. I put a note on that in my recruiting wrap. Just said, hey, the expectation's still this summer. That's what I was told. I've heard he's doing well. That's kind of all I've heard with Destin Hill, but that's kind of their expectation. But, yeah, it could be one of those signing days where don't have to do anything.
No 8-hour live show
Nope.
this Wednesday this time.
Yeah, yeah. So Could be really quiet. Now, I will, as I say that, there could be some surprises going into maybe Monday that I found out that maybe there's a guy or two that they're looking at. But as of right now, as tonight when we're doing this, I'm expecting them to get any more high school prospects at this time.
All right. And then in terms of the portal, it's just such a wild sort of reality that you have to kind of function in. I mean, names just kind of pop up out of nowhere, and then it moves really fast. I mean, are there positions that, in terms of you talking to your sources and the intel that you're working, are there some positions that they seem to be kind of focusing on and holding out for when it comes to using this transfer portal?
Yeah, I think they definitely want an offensive tackle. That much is clear. Kind of we pointed out that they wanted a running back a few weeks ago before they got Trey Benson, but I think they definitely want an offensive tackle, and I think they would like another defensive lineman or linebacker in this class, and then a quarterback. They'd obviously like to get an experienced quarterback. I think if you got those things, probably 3 or 4 is kind of what you're looking at to finish this thing off in 2022, but they definitely would like an offensive tackle. I think that's probably the number one thing I hear more than anything, but I think also the next would be defensive lineman somewhere, like a defensive end, probably not a defensive tackle, but probably a defensive end or / linebacker, because there's some guys out there that play defensive end or / linebacker too. So I think that kind of fits perfect, kind of what they would want to get. But those are kind of the positions I hear most. I know people, the most focus is the quarterback, but as I explain to people, they're looking for just an experienced guy that is going to compete with AJ, Tate, and Jordan. They're not looking for this superstar takeover Caleb Williams guy. They're looking for somebody that's kind of experienced, that they know is going to compete and push those guys. But right now there's not a hurry for these guys to sign, so I don't think there's going to be a mad rush with the portal like it has been in the last month. So I think it'll kind of slow down a little bit, and then it'll start cranking up when these kids can enroll and sign in places that like in March. So I think it will crank up in the next few weeks, but those are kind of the positions I think FSU's looking at.
There are 7 thumbnail tiles on the homepage of warchant.com. As we record this on Sunday night with Michael, all 7 are occupied by recruiting stories. He and Austin Cox, burning the midnight oil. I mean, there's quotes, there's wrap-ups from all these visits, and then Michael does his nice sidebars on the PRB, the Premium Recruiting Board, where he kind of gives the nitty-gritty lowdown stuff that he feels on all these guys, as well as Austin's insight, too. So you would have known all about all this if you were a subscriber to warchant.com and instead you waited till your Monday morning and had to listen to us talk about it for 20 minutes. But we do appreciate it, Michael. Thanks, man.
You got it, man. Anytime.
For Michael and Corey, I am Aslan. Don't forget, again, 7 o'clock schedule unveil live show on our warchant.com YouTube page with Gene, Ira, and Tom. Tune in. Enjoy it. Get your predictions in as well. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.